Basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skiddy, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
G'day, legends, and welcome back to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast. I am your host, Skiddy IFS, and I'm joined by someone that I don't feel any sort of way about like Dante DiVincenzo and Rick Brunson do. That's right, I actually like this man. I'm joined by Malley at Live My Fantasy. How are you, brother?
No, I'm not going to try and... I know this is the Insight Fantasy Network, but I'm not going to be trying to incite any fights tonight. I'm just going to try and play it chill.
Hey, I'll tell you what, don't really see a lot of aggression in a preseason game. Absolutely love that. And I'll tell you what, bring on Minnesota versus the Knicks in the regular season this year. That is comedy. I loved that. And today, as what else we love, Mally, is another mock draft. But today is a special one because I'm doing on the turn, pick 12, which can be a bitch for some people, but I'm going to try and help you how to get through it and what is going to be the best guy that I feel like is going to be the best turn pick. And you are going to be at what I think is probably the hardest pick to draft from, and that is pick 9. What are you thinking?
I'd like to get Tatum just because I haven't had a build with him. I don't want to have to end up again with Trae just because I've done it so many times now. And I just don't end up making good Trae builds, which probably realistically means I should be doing that more often, not less often. But yeah, I'd like to have a go at Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum's good because you don't get a deficiency with Tatum, which is one thing I like.
Yeah, no, he's pretty steady across the board. Any little surprises in the preseason for you?
Yeah. What I want to know from you is, Mally, real quick, before we do get this draft underway, we got a minute or so before we go in. Who's who are you looking at? Who surprised you? What's gotten you enticed about the preseason? Is there any one that you're really taking your eye at the moment?
The first one seems a bit of a null kind of comment, but I really like Josh Giddey. I nearly said Josh Skiddy. Josh Giddey. Not because I'm surprised about what he's doing, but what I wanted to see from him was, is he the same Josh Giddey from OKC and maybe slightly from the Olympics Boomers? Yep. So It seems like he is. He's still getting those assists. He's getting the rebounds. He's getting some points. He's getting some random defensive numbers. And I know this is the time of the season. We can't get too excited about that because no one's taking care of the ball, which leads me on to my other guy, is another man who's moved teams, is Tobias Harris. Same deal. He went absolutely nuts in that first game and got 20 points. A little bit more quiet today, but again, got the 2 steals and 2 blocks. And if he can do that, that is a pretty well-rounded player there because that's always been his deficiency.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we really want to be able to see Tobias Harris getting those defensive stats because that's really what will set him up to be able to be a great fantasy option. Matty G, our man, we know that he absolutely loves Harris around, that's 50, 60 area. And if he can get defensive stats, oh boy, that's fantastic. Remember, at the start of last year, he was like one of the leaders in steals or something like that. He was averaging like 1.4 steals a game or something ridiculous, like just pulling it out of his ass. Guys, 100%. Guys that I've been very much impressed with. I think LaMelo Ball's been fantastic. I think everyone is now, but that's an obvious one. 2 guys that I'm liking like very far down. One guy everyone's starting to take in their last pick. That's Peyton Pritchard. He looks phenomenal. He's running that unit very nicely for Boston. If Drew Holiday sits a lot, which we expect, Peyton Pritchard can get a lot of stats going his way. And one man that I very much liked coming out of college, he'll be a rookie this season. I'm not expecting much playing time, but he's a guy that I'm keeping my eye on because if Ryan Dunn at the Phoenix Suns can show any sort of offensive structure to his game that he didn't do in college, he shot 20% from 3. He shot well from the field, but he only averaged 8 points in 27 minutes in college. but those defensive stats, Malley, are juicy. And if he can bring any type of offense to keep him on the floor to be able to get those defensive stats, oh boy, there's something going there for Ryan Dunn. But
yeah, I really love your Peyton call, because last year it was always Al Horford who, whenever one of them sat, they just plonked him in. But now he's probably going to have to do the Porzingis role. So I guess that's Pritchard. Like, they're just going to move people around and keep him at the one, because everyone else can move and he can just slot in there.
Yeah.
Oh, some big
100%.
surprises at the start of this.
Absolutely, mate.
We got. Go and tell us.
Okay, mate. Well, I'll tell us that this draft is obviously we don't have to say it, but we love to say it as well. Drafts brought to you guys by our day ones, the Standard Squeeze. Use promo code IFS15 to get 15% off everything in stock from them beautiful bastards. You can see the 4-in-1 right here. We absolutely love them, and they keep us going with what we're doing with these drafts. And holy shit, Malley, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This is a 9-cat fantasy draft, and we've gone Wemby 1, Jokic 2, Luka 3, Shea 4, and Edwards 5. Now, way too high.
That's very ambitious, and that puts me in a funny position because I was hoping to get Jason Tatum, but another guy I haven't built with, and I'm happy to pick up at 9 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I'm going to actually take him with my 9th pick and do a little build around him. Methinks.
Mate, I do not blame you at all there. That is absolutely preaching to the choir. If you're being able to get Giannis at 9, we know he's going to be able to hit the free throws is going to be a hit. Oh boy, have a look at this. Have a look what I am getting here at 12. I'll tell you, if this happens in your actual draft and you get Trae Young, James Harden back-to-back, licking the lips. But yeah, Giannis, we know you're going to go. Are you leaning into the punt free throw build like everyone normally is, or are you going to try a little something?
Let's wait until I get my 2nd pick. I'm going to keep myself nice and open to that, and then I might be able to give you an answer. Don't you love that the back-to-back Trae Young and Harden build is now the Beards build? Now that with all these off-season, all Trae has done is concentrate on growing a beard. He hasn't done any workouts. He hasn't seen his family. He hasn't done anything. All he's done is just lay quietly and try and get that beard to sprout.
Hey, and fair enough too. It actually looks pretty half decent. I rate it what Trae Young's done. So play on to him. Obviously, I am going to be heavily punting turnovers and not giving a shit about them. And at the moment, it's block stats as well, but we'll see what can get back on the turn here. So we'll recap the first round for everyone. After Ant Edwards at 5, it was Halliburton, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, Giannis going to our boy Malley, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Trae Young, James Harden at the turn. Then Kevin Durant, LaMelo Ball, Domantas Sabonis. That was you, big fella. Talk to me through your Sabonis pick. That's dirty.
Yeah,
that is dirty.
It was either going to be him or Scotty Barnes, and I just thought Domantas has, again, in limited minutes and in preseason, which we can't read into too much. He might lose a few of the assists he was getting because it seems like they like to run the ball through what's his name, DeMar DeRozan at the moment, but he's still getting a squillion rebounds. His percentages are still nice. He's looking spry. So he was an obvious choice for me. Well, not obvious because, as I said, I could have taken Scotty Barnes, but he was one of the obvious choices there. I'm surprised that. Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that, Sabonis, eight assists today, which was nice. Nearly a triple-double in limited minutes, which is really bloody nice.
Yeah.
I think the Sabonis or the Barnes pairing there was nice. I don't think that you'd want to go Don Mitchell there because he's got very, very nice free throw and high volume, which, could level out Giannis. But why would you not take a choice of being able to get assists, rebounds, to pair with the Giannis, and then in the next one, you can keep going with those assists from a point guard while then getting up those extra categories afterwards because you still should be able to get a fairly nice point guard in that range that's coming up for your next pick.
I'm thinking so. The one question I was going to ask you, he got taken at 15th, was LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
Are you surprised that he hasn't? He's still floating around that 13, 14, 15, 16 kind of mark. I haven't really seen him as a top first round guy, even though his performance has been pretty impressive. Are you surprised that no one's got excited about him and they're kind of just steering the course?
It is weird that like people were more than happy to have a crack at him in the first round last season, and now we're like, oh, he's just injury prone. So everyone's got that stuck in their head. I reckon you can be a little bit cautious, but you don't want to go as high as the first round because I think I'd rather Trae and Harden, but it's honestly not that far off. So yeah, I don't mind the shout from you. Really, I would definitely be taking Ball ahead of Brunson in that fashion. But Brunson also does his own things, right? And they're all also neck and neck. The only reason I like Ball better than Brunson is that Ball's got dual position, where he's got point guard, shooting guard. Brunson's only got point guard.
It's definitely handy. Finishing that second round after I took Giannis, we had Jalen Brunson, Don Mitchell. 19 was Bam, 20 was Chet. I mean, you can pencil Chet in for 20 or 21. He seems to be going there each time. Scotty Barnes at 21, kind of one of the further distances I've seen him fall. LeBron at 22. People are being really maybe realistic about LeBron this year because no one's gone and done like the pick 13 or whatever with him. Everyone's just been like, okay, this is a sensible place to take him. Dame at 23 and the 16 point, 16 rebound god in Karl Anthony Towns goes at 24, finishing off that round.
I'm telling you, that bloke that put what was it, $100 or whatever on Karl Anthony Towns to win the rebounding per game numbers this season at 61-1 would be just finger licking good after Cat goes for 16 and 16 today. But hey, Malley, one thing that I've noticed as well is we did a pod probably about 2 weeks ago, I think, and we were talking about how we were a little bit worried about the man that just went 28, Devin Booker. He was going around, 15, and now he is going out and out and out. Like this is the lowest I've ever seen him go. But I'm used to seeing him go around about 2022 now. Are you worried about Booker or what's going on?
Probably because he hasn't had a lot of showing in the preseason, and people might be getting a little bit panicky about that. Again, today with all of and I mean, it's happened on many teams in the preseason where they've rolled out basically their deeper bench starting lineup, and they've gone to town on one of these teams. Seeing the Suns play so well today has probably maybe put a little bit of fear of God. He just kind of gets forgotten, and I think as well, people might just be writing off the Suns as a fantasy relevant franchise, which again is incorrect. But like Beal has slipped people's minds, and he's still floating out there in like the 70s, 80s. You've got KD, probably in that late 20s kind of pick. So maybe just people are forgetting the entire cluster rather than just the man himself.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, mate. But we know that Booker needs a fair amount of usage to be able to be fantasy relevant. Maybe that they're thinking maybe with Tyus Jones coming in, he just doesn't have the ball as much. Tyus is very, very capable point guard, and people are starting to get a little bit worried that Booker might be falling a little bit. And I'm not against it. I would probably have Booker ahead of 28, but they're going to have to make those decisions. So after that, we'll go back up and we'll see what we have. So Karl Anthony Towns at 24, Cade Cunningham at 25. He's early, but you take what you want. That's fine. Have a crack at Cade. He's going to be the man. Oh, maybe because Jaden Ivey's been playing out of his mind. Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah. Şengün 27, Devin Booker 28, Fox 29, Mikal Bridges at 30 is way too early. Kyrie Irving 31, Markkanen 32, Freddie Van Vliet, that's you at 33, Paul George 34, and Jalen Johnson 35. Talk to me while I have a look at what I'm going to do.
I really wanted to take Jalen Williams there, and I would have been happy to take him with that 33rd pick, probably up the higher end of his value. But just to have someone maybe a little bit more consistent, even though I guess you would probably say that DeMontis is captain consistency. But that's really sorted me out well. Obviously, with Sabonis, my blocks took a little bit of a dip, but now Fred VanVleet's somewhat buoyed them back out. I just like the pairing, or the triumvirate now with him and Giannis and Sabonis. My assists are looking crispy. Obviously, I probably nearly need to hand threes away. So that's probably where I'm leaning now, I think. And maybe trying to recover my points, but even that might have to go. This might end up being a pump threes, pump points build because
Okay.
with Fred VanVleet and DeBonis as my second and third pick. That's hammered me.
Yep, but also too, they are very, very good options to get the other counting stats. So I don't hate it, and a lot of people have said that the easiest punt strategy is to punt points. And you just punt threes and points, and you just go, "Yep, thank you, mother, for the rabbits," and you see how that goes. So we'll go back to it. And after Jalen Johnson, I went to Jonte Murray at 36 and Evan Mobley with my back-to-backs. I have a lot of assists, which I'm really, really liking to start off with because they are harder to get later on. I've got threes that are all right. My rebounds are now going to start coming up, and free throws are bloody sorted, and field goals, yeah, not great. But who gives a shit about that? So that's okay. I am hammering in for that. No, you definitely cannot, and you don't really want to win them all. In fairness, because if you do, then actually, I don't know how you are. If you're winning assists, you're not really winning turnovers now, unless you've got some absolute Tyus Jones look in your team. But well, that is how it is. Paulo Banchero at 38. He's a guy that I swear to God, people just get to this range and they go, I don't know who to take. Screw it, I'm going to take Paulo Banchero. Jay Darb at 39, who I was very much considering there as well. Ja Morant 40, Maxey at 41, and Jimmy Butler at 42. Malley, you decided to go Ja Morant at 40. Now, I want to hear your thoughts on it, but I am guessing that you went, shit, I need points. Who else is going to get me these bulk points consistently? And you went Ja Morant. Am I on the money?
Yeah, that, and the thing that always gives me a little bit of a spooks with old Jar is that he's not fantastic from the line. So he's not really a defensive guy, doesn't get the steals or certainly doesn't get the blocks. But my team has that really relatively well covered. Points he does, and now I'm back in that race somewhat. So he's kind of helped me out there. I don't mind that the free throws junk because that's going to be my team outside Fred, and Fred's definitely not going to be able to do enough to try and get that ship back above water. So yeah, I'm all right with that. It's probably the earliest I'd take Jar and Cat, but 40 I can live with, even if he only plays 40 games, which he hasn't even been able to make it through the preseason, the poor bugger.
Oh my! I remember saying the boys' chat, and it was, "Oh no, Ja Morant's done his ankle again. Oh, I can't believe it. He's already gone." And I'm like, "What the hell?" Look at it. I'm like, "Oh, yep, sprained." Well, hopefully he can bounce back into it. After Ja, we saw Tyrese Maxey at 41, Jimmy Butler 42, which is pretty nice for Jimmy Butler. Porter Jr. at 43 I hate that. Jaylen Brown at 44. That's good if he can actually get his free throws back on track. We know they were dog shit last year. Siakam 45, Bane 46, Jalen Duren 47, Derek White 48. Malley, I'll tell you what, Jalen Duren is looking fantastic in these preseason games. The blocks are up. The rebounds are still fantastic. The free throw percentage is great. Field goal percentage is great. And he's scoring around about those 17, 18. Oh, finger licking good Jalen Duren.
On our 20-man mock, you said something about him getting you some defensive numbers, and I did a silent giggle on the inside. And then today he came out and got 3 blocks. So I think you're going to have the last laugh there. And maybe this is because he's been put in a position this year where they've said, we want to see some defense out of you. Like, we're not going to ask you to... I mean, he took on a reasonable scoring load. Obviously, it wasn't very high. But scoring's very well covered now that they've got Ivy, who's decided to come back to life. They've got all these veteran three-point shooters. Not that that was his role, but, the points are going to be on the board. He can rebound. He can hopefully get a few blocks and defend the paint. And I think that's going to give him team value. He might lose a little bit of value from a fantasy point. But then again, if he can get the blocks, then that's probably going to skyrocket him because that's one of the things that shoots you higher than anything else. So, yeah, I think he's too young in his career to really write the guy off as being this, that, or the other. Not only is he young in his career, he's just young full stop. So
yeah, exactly right. And like the other thing that I will bank on Duren as well being a better defender is they now have JB Bickerstaff as the head coach, who is giving more of a shit than Monty Williams did last year. And JB Bickerstaff, we know that what he did for the Cleveland Cavaliers team. The Cavs were third in defense 2 seasons ago, and then fourth or something like that last year. So he knows how to get a defensive team going, and Duren is probably going to be the focal point around that. At 49, we had Franz Wagner. 50, we had Zach LaVine. which really annoys me because I normally get him around 60. Quickly at 51, Zion 52, DeMar DeRozan 53, Tobias Harris 54, Kawhi Leonard at 55 finally goes, and then Miles Turner at 56. The one more thing I wanted to say about Jalen Duren as well, Mally, if he's going at 47, fine, someone else can have him. Like, I will happily take DeAndre Ayton a couple of rounds later and bank on him instead of Duren reaching for him.
Yeah, no, I like that as a statement. I've just gone out and taken my second centre so I can stop after doing my 20-man mock the other day and having a panic because I had no centres and I had no small forwards. I've taken Rudy Gobert there. He's been a bit quiet outside of one game, but I'm not too worried about that. He's obviously going to be the only centre really remaining. I know that you could say that isn't true because they've got Naz there too. So we'll go. Yeah, so I'll go Rudy there again. I've tried to get Jar to recover my points, and then my next pick is Rudy. So that's going to put me straight back in at 64, looking for another. But I'm all right with that because at 64 you can still get some major points getterers. Yeah. So what are you going to do with this 61st pick?
So I've got an 8 in there to get my rebound still going high from what I can, which I can still go with Harden and Murray. So I like that. I think I might go the next rebound and points guy that doesn't overly kill me. I think I might go Julius Randle over Miles Bridges. I will. I'll go Randle over Bridges. Bridges, like, I think I take Randle in that situation just purely because Bridges is fantastic with LaMelo. And I've been preaching this for a long, long time that Bridges is so much better with LaMelo. LaMelo is the driving force of that team. He doesn't have to stand there and keep taking dumb bullshit shots the whole time, right? It just depends on what happens with Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller's evolution is key for Miles Bridges to say, hey, I'm going to step back and I'm going to let you start doing it and start balling out. But if Bridges doesn't do that, if Miller still takes the backseat, then Bridges is obviously going to be fantastic. It's both of them need the usage to be able to be fantasy guys. They can still have all right percentages, but that's where I kind of just will go, well, Randall's going to Randall. You know, if he's telling Jalen Brunson to get the fuck out of the way and give me the ball, he's probably going to try and do majority of the same thing in Minnesota, except for probably Ant Edwards. But we'll see how that goes. Randall at 61. Brook Lopez at 62 is early as I've seen it. Jamal Murray now sliding after his shithouse preseason games. Miles Bridges at 64. Who you went? Oh, lovely. Beautiful. Brandon Miller at 65 and Kyle Kuzma at 66. Talk to me about why you went Miles Bridges there after I just shit on it.
Just because it wasn't someone that I was thinking about at the beginning of the season, and I thought that, as you said, that maybe Miller, and again, very early in the piece, would step up. But it still looks like Bridges is the preferred option, and LaMelo makes him look great. He's much better with LaMelo out there. This is harkening back to before he was, I mean, he's always obviously been a sketchy cat, but before he was a proven sketchy cat, when he had his big out of nowhere season, and he just became that scoring, percentages, assists, rebounds threat that he became. Was that 3 seasons ago now? And it looks like we're having a small renaissance of that. So I'll take him. He's a little bit like a later version for me of Tobias Harris, where he's not really that much of a detriment anywhere, but he's also really not boosting you in any particular spot. So when I look around and there's a bunch of other guys who just don't really interest me in this mid-60s to early 70s range, why not take him?
Yep. Could not agree more there, mate. And you hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what Bridges does. So, yep, absolutely. After you've gone, we've got, Brandon Miller at 65, Kyle Kuzma at 66, Alex Caruso at 67, wowee. Devin Vassell at 68, Nick Claxton 69, Bradley Beal at 70, Keegan Murray at 71, Isaiah Hartenstein 72, D'Angelo Russell 73, Anthony Simons 74, Darius Garland at 75 is bloody late. That's one of the latest I've ever seen DG get drafted. That's a good pickup there from Kin to be able to get that amount of assists that late in the draft. And yeah, there's some interesting ones going on here, Mally. I like Caruso at 67 is way too early. I think we can all agree on that. That's way too early. You can get him a lot later. But I like how OKC's up-pace defense and offense and trying to be able to get these steals and trying to get the lanes. And you can already see it in the preseason games. This could really look for a lot of steals and blocks and defensive stats for these OKC players.
Definitely. And you've segued me nicely into, I'm looking at my team now, and a big deficiency of mine is an area that I'm not going to punt, which is steals, hopefully. So I'm looking for a steals guy now. I'm probably going to have to go early on someone because Drew's there, but I don't really want him at 81. And then I've got the option of OG. I've got Jalen Suggs, who it feels too early for. So there's definitely some steals guys here, Herb. But I just don't know because, I mean, realistically, there's no other options that I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm really doing away with that guy just so I can get a steals guy. That's not really the case. So I think if OG sticks around through these next two picks, he'll be the guy I get.
Yep.
Tyler Hero's looked all right, even though he's got his little skinhead haircut.
He's doing his thing now. I'll tell you that much. God damn. Shit. We got to stop podcasting because some of these guys are getting taken earlier and earlier from our guys that we like to take later on in the draft. Cam Thomas goes at 76, Valanciunas at 77, Vincent Zubac at 78 is one of the earliest, and I love it. I just wish that I got him. Giddy at 79, Holiday 80, and Anunoby, you get your man at 81, Podol at 82, Bogdanovic, obviously from Atlanta, at 83. So Anunoby gets to you. You get your steals, man. Very, very nice. Well played by you. The team is sorting out nicely. And I need to see what the hell I'm going to do here.
While I'm doing that, weird thing that I've noticed just because I'm reading into things too much. On the NBA website, they've changed the spelling of Pirtle's last name. Maybe it's like a traditional spelling. Yeah, whack. They've taken away the... I don't know if it's the O or the E. I think it was the E, so just Poltl with like a little indent or like a little umpa or whatever they call, whatever their version of the German like pronunciation of the vowels is, because it's just like weird little random trivia for you there.
Yeah, I did notice that the other day too, and I was like,
on your Monday night.
Yeah, and I went, hang on a second. When the hell did Podol lose a letter in his name? It had me bloody stumped. And I was like, oh, well, it is what it is. I've gone 84, so I've gone Ingram and Poole. I desperately needed a small forward, and this is one of those things that I said the other night, Mally, where I'm getting to these stages later in the draft, and I realize I haven't got a bloody small forward, and it roots me. That was one of the spots where I got to, but Ingram, three different positionals. I know there's a lot of chances that he's going to lose a lot of his usage. I don't care. If he's got three positions, I'm still going to be okay with having to swing at him at 84 when this can be easily a top 40 type player. And then I went Jordan Poole at 85. Now, has he looked great? No. Can he be better? Yes. Am I hopeful? Probably. But still, he fits my team all right with the high free throw percentage, assists, threes. Like, yeah, it just works for my team there, Mally. We see... that's Jalen Green at 86, our man, Puppy from Fantasy. He loves him, obviously, but 86 for Jalen Green. Walker Kessler, 87. We can see him starting to creep up now as he looks like he's going to be the starting center in Utah. And John Collins off the bench, which is surprising. You got Suggs. How many times do you reckon you've drafted Suggs?
All the time. I love him. I think he's a good guy. I just think the role's there for him now. I like Orlando. He's just a real go-getter as a player. And now I've sorted my assist. I had to get a shooting. Well, no, I didn't have to. I wanted to get a shooting guard before we left the first 100. And so he was the guy I decided to take. He was just the best available. And again, I probably would have taken him anyway.
Mate, those steals of yours are looking filthy. That is some dirty amount of steals. Your team's looking very nice, mate. We go through. We got Trey Murphy at 89, Draymond Green at 90, and then Chris Middleton 91, CJ McCollum 92, Jonathan Kuminga at 93, Yusuf Nurkic at 94, Herb Jones at 95. I mean, look, some good picks here. Nurkic is good at that range at 94. If he does play and gets enough minutes, yeah, he's going to smack that easily. And Herb Jones, I mean, Malley, are we seeing center Herb Jones?
Well, we didn't today.
Again.
Tice was out there for eternity, and all he got was 3 rebounds, and he was working hard. You should see the guy
late.
charging out from. He comes from under at the baseline to try and contest threes. Like, he really wants to be out there, but he just did nothing, and it just made me think. Statistically, he did nothing, but I mean, the eye test showed that he was really valuable out there. So it'd be interesting if you just looked at the game stats. You'd go, "Oh well, this guy definitely is getting cut. Like they're going to do the Herb thing." But I don't know. I just wish they probably would get rid of Brandon Ingram and stop wasting time and move him on somewhere, and then they can unleash Trae a bit more. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, we've got
It's one of the freest ones too. Like when you have Trey Murphy and Herb Jones coming off your bench, it's so free to just trade for a center. I thought it was already hook, line, and sinker that Jared Allen was going to the Pelicans and Brandon Ingram was coming over to Cleveland. I thought that was done, but still not quite there yet, mate.
We rarely see trades too. Well, not rarely. I think the one that really changed things up was the moving of what's his name? We were playing that game again where I can't remember my guys.
Yeah, if you give me something, I might be able to help you.
Absolutely not. I'm moving on with my point, which is that we often don't see trades that are seem that they're absolute equal value for both teams. But looking at Jarrett and looking at Ingram, that just seems like it would make sense for them both. For both franchises, that seems so useful.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Couldn't agree more. We go back into the draft. So Herb Jones was at 95, Naz Reid 96, Tyler Hero 97, Klay Thompson 98, Jabari Smith Jr. at 99 is absolute free. That is absolute chicken right there. Terry Rozier at 100. I love that. I love that. Homie Alkes Jr. at 101. I hate that. Chris Paul at 102. Derek Lively 103. Austin Reeves at 104. Kobe White at 105. That's the lowest I've seen Austin Reeves at 104. I'm not the biggest Austin Reeves fan, but he's better than 104 by an absolute mile.
I had to click on that to make sure that was actually Austin Reeves and not Andre Reeves or some bloke that deep in a bench somewhere. That seems that he went at 104.
Yeah, he's old, mate. Yeah, absolutely. And then you went Kobe White. Talk to me. Why'd you go Kobe White there at 105?
I just looked back at my team and thought I'm going to need some more scoring. So I thought he was going to go, and that I was going to pick up Jeremy Grant, who would have worked well too, because that's basically all he does. And I don't need to do anything else because I've got my steals, my rebounds, my assists pretty nicely sorted. So Grant would have been there, but Kobe ended up falling to me. So that was a nice little surprise. And yeah, I'll take him. Maybe get a few assists. He's not really going to get me defensive numbers, but that's okay. I've got all that sorted. The threes that he brings are going to be irrelevant to me because my team is a big 2-point team basically only. So I really have ended up leaning into the no threes, and I don't know. I think everything else I'm relatively competitive in. Maybe I was going to say rebounds, but then I've got Sabonis and Gobert, the two of the biggest rebounders in the league. So I can't really even write that off. Yeah,
and Giannis. I mean, come on, you've got
Giannis as well. Yeah,
on there. Bloody hell! Exactly right. And you've got some good, and Ja Morant's not a slouch for rebounding out of the guard position either. He goes all right. So yeah, mate, you're going absolutely guns blazing in the rebounding department in my eyes. We get back to the draft, and I'm going. So Colin Sexton's gone 106. Dan Gafford at 107. That's why I couldn't bloody find it. I was looking for Dan Gafford. I'm like, I know Gafford's should be around here because I haven't seen him go. And I'm like, where the bloody hell? He went the pick before me. I went Josh Hart at 108 and Dante DiVincenzo at 109. I like them guys there. I'll tell you what, Malley. Josh Hart has me excited. That is a beautiful points type player. I'm not punting points, but I don't care if he's getting me assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, solid, not bad free throw percentage, and good field goal. Yeah, hell yeah. And he's going to be getting under Thibodeau, probably about 37 to 38 minutes a night, and just playing every game, running him off his feet. He does not care, and he's going to give it every bit of his dick to do the best thing he can for New York. Yeah, I'll happily take him around the 100 mark now.
Yeah, I'm thinking he might get 49 minutes. I reckon he might be out there he might just end up like running around and like, I don't know, before the game and after the game, they don't let him stop. He's like the human version of the movie Speed, where if he slows down, he dies. So he's just got to keep going. Look at this. It's a little big man pool here. So we went 111 was Collins, 112 was Okongwu, 113 was Edie, and then 114 was Capella. I was quite happy to take Okongwu there. Anywhere outside that 110 mark is where I'll start jumping on him. I then realised after saying stupidly that my rebounds weren't that strong, where I'm probably actually leading the competition in rebounds, was that my blocks really, obviously, under combo gets some, and Gobert's pretty good in that category. And I do get out of position ones from Van Vliet, but it wasn't as strong as I wanted. So I've gone and got a Okongwu and hope that, unlike last season, more like the season before, I get some good blocks out of him.
Okay, yeah. So there's a couple going on now. Yep, absolutely. Maybe you can get one more going into the last now, so as you're going for a complete big man role with it. Pajemski goes 115, Portis 116. Come on, what are we doing? No. Mark Williams 117. That's the lowest I've ever seen him go. I'm guessing people are, again, just being like, is he coming back? What's going on here? Jeremy Grant, 118, and then Tyus Jones, 119. Shithouser at 120. Holy shit. He has gone early.
What do I think's going to happen in Boston for that guy to get a go? So I'm looking at the projected standings, which I always take with a grain of salt. But yes, I'm well and truly leading the rebounds category. Oh, that might be my worst call this season. So we'll, yeah,
that's all right, mate.
As we get close to the real season, I'm running out of chances to be a doofus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my favorite thing is that they've still got these like standings going off of like somewhat of last year mixed with some of this year mixed with I don't know what the hell they've done with, but that's all right. That's how the standings go. But that's why we use everyone's different standings. You know, we can look at Yahoo's. We can look at the boys from like over at Basketball Monster, the other basketball pages. We can look at ours. And that's why we go through all these different rankings to see where they all end up. Because I think the best one was Matty G did a draft where on one site he was like 9th or something like that, and then the other one he won by a mile. And we're like, that's just the way that this goes, mate.
Yeah, some of these guys, like, you're right, some of their predicted standings and statistics look like they've just gone through, and if they added a minute, they've just gone through and rolled and added maybe one or two to every category and gone the other way.
Yeah.
Some guys have just basically stayed the same, regardless of the fact that their team has got a lot better or they've got a lot older or whatever the situation. And there's some that look like their cats just walked across the keyboard and just lent on some of the numbers, because you're like, oh, Jesus. Again, like the Austin Reeves thing, I have to click on the name to make sure it's the right N Powell or the right PJW, just to make sure that I've got the right guys. Anyone 100%. Who's gone too late, do you think, out of these guys? Looking back at probably 120 onwards, is there anyone that you're like, oh, that's a little steal? I can see one.
I was just trying to look at it then, and I'm thinking it's Marcus Smart. I think Smart's probably, this is where we got to get him for the steals wise, bump those up there. But there's a few that have, RJ Barrett, you don't see many times going past 120 now to get those points. We saw
124. Deontay George. Do you think that's a little late?
I could definitely see where that's a little late. He's definitely going to be that starting point guard. He's a greater source of assists, and I don't think people have caught on to it 100% yet. Where would you take Keontae?
Probably around the 110-ish kind of mark, maybe 115. So a good 10 to 15 before that. So it's not egregious, but I'm going to take the big hype boy at my 136 pick, the leader of the Detroit Pistons, the savior, the Jaden Ivey himself. So let's see what he can do. I don't really. He's not going to upset me too much at this point in the draft.
His percentages will definitely tell you otherwise, mate. I'm pretty sure he was 240th last year or something like that. Just because his percentages absolutely took a shit all over everything. I'm going back to after shit. So 121, Abdia. 122 healed. 123 was finally Porzingis. As you said, Keontae George 124. Neesmith 125, which is probably the earliest I've ever seen Neesmith go. Hachimura at 126. Carter at 127. Cam Johnson 128. That is... Oh, that you took Amen Thompson. Thank you very much. Very, very nice. So you got Fred and Amen. Very nice little 1-2. RJ Barrett 130, probably too late for him for the scoring that he's able to provide. Aaron Gordon at 131. Trace Jackson Davis 132 with Marcus Smart on the back up there. So I've gone hopefully for rebounds and steals there. I can hope at least. KCP 134, PJ Washington 135, you went Jaden Ivey 136, Al Horford 137, Larry Nance Jr. at 138. What the hell? Dennis Schroeder 139 and Asar Thompson 140. There's a couple of interesting ones, but oh well, that's all right. People want to pick like that. That is fine by me, Malley. And this is why we do these mock drafts to see what is changing and what is going on before your actual drafts. Like that's why these mock drafts are bloody important to do.
100%. And my 4 guys that I always try and pick with my last pick, even though I often just use that as a streaming pick anyway, just to kind of make more of a point. All 4 of them are still here. And I know I'm still, 9 picks away. But my 4 guys that I never really get the choice between 4, it's often probably 2, is Keon Ellis. I've got Jeremy Sohan. I've got Alex Sarr. And I've got Dyson Daniels. So they're all...
Probably Pritchard too.
Yeah. Well, Pritchard's one I take, and I take him especially because I just want that opening night game, and I think that he's going to, as I said before, he's going to be this season's Al Horford, and Al Horford's going to be the version of him last year, but probably having to be a full-time starter. So I just like Peyton. I think that he's going to be able to slot into the point guard position, and they'll just move everyone else around him and go, it's your night off tonight, it's your night off tomorrow, and Peyton, you just stay there, and we have faith in you now. So
I would definitely be
mate. I don't know what to do.
Sorry. Yeah, mate. No, I just want to say as well, I will 100% be taking Peyton Pritchard before I be taking Sam Hauser, right? Let's just say that, get that out there straight away now. Peyton Pritchard over Sam Hauser if you're doing that.
There's been some mockeries in this mock, but I mean, I'm not taking them. What's this? 145 Mitchell Robinson? Absolutely not. No. Any chance of he had coming back and having any sort of decent roles out the window. So now let's say if I wasn't going to just keep the guy who I'm picking last for 2 games and then dropping them, and I actually had to pick and keep them for the rest of the season. I think, obviously, out of the 4 guys, the biggest upside, Sohan probably has the lowest upside, followed by Keon Ellis. The biggest upside is probably Alex Sarr, but I reckon Dyson Daniels isn't a long way behind him, but I am going to pick up Sarr. I haven't got a rookie in my draft this time, so I'll pick up him.
Nice one. We don't see many rookies go anymore. It's only a couple get taken with Sarr, maybe Edie. Yeah, exactly right. But they will have their points, but there's times where you're just like, well, none of them really get me very much excited at the start here because none of them are really going to look like starting or being in, massive roles. So when we get to that stage, we just go bugger it. Kelly Oubre Jr. goes, and I'll go D'Anthony Melton.
What are you doing?
D'Anthony Melton, mate. Yep. Always just get him to end it off, mate. So that's how that one ends up. We can have a quick look at the standings, but who gives a shit about them? Really, Hassan wins it. You come in 5th and I come in 9th. I've gone a lot more upside and a lot more against the projections. So, each their own. That's just how that one looks. We'll run it into the boys from Kingy. We'll get his one over and B-Dub, and they can give us ours. We'll see how that goes from that. You run through yours first, Shags. I want to know how you went from the 9th position. So you started with Giannis Antetokounmpo at 9. What did you run with?
I'm really liking this team. So I've basically, by looking at it, I've gone for a punt, free throw, punt threes build. So I've got Fred VanVleet. Love those out of position blocks. The assists are going to be nice. I got Suggsy. Plenty of steals coming from him. Doesn't do a lot else, but that's all I need him to do. Maybe it might get me a few assists this year. But that team know how to get everyone to be a pseudo point guard. Ja Morant, I needed points. He was there. Miles Bridges, I like the role this year. I don't think the upside's that insane, but I just think he's going to be much the same or better than last year. Giannis, obviously, we always worry about injuries with him, but he's a tyrant out on the court, and you've got to respect him for that. He's obviously a first round guy. OG, love the steals, and the role's obviously increased after the trade. Giannis, he's looked great. I'm probably falling in love with him a little bit too much watching the starting 5, but that's okay. I'll try. Try not to be impacted too much by that. Big Rudy coming in as the center for my team, basically the backup center. If he's following suit to Sabonis, love that was my chance to get a few more blocks in. Rebounds obviously short up, seeming I was the worst rebound team in my own mind. In fact, although I was the best rebound team. Kobe White, because I think he dropped too far and I needed points. Onyeka Okongwu, because I'm hoping he heals up and finally gets his run at starting center. Clint definitely hasn't done a lot to show that he's still relevant in that position. Amen Thompson, who I got for a steal if you go by ADPs, because people are taking him inside the top 100 now, which for someone who's not going to be a starting player seems kind of crazy to me, even though I'm a big Houston guy. I'm a big Amen guy.
God, he's good.
I'm not going to get that hyped on him. Jaden Ivey, the king of Detroit, and then Alex Sarr is my flyer at the end.
Love it, mate. Hey, I'll tell you, Amen Thompson, when he gets the ground to go for Houston, my God, is he going to dominate? And he's going to be such a good fantasy aspect 100%. As well. So, oh, boy. So I went from 12, mate, going on the turn. And Trae Young and James Harden is one that I'm interested in. I am very, very much interested in being able to get those two guys to start off your draft. If you could get that on your turn in any draft, I think you'd be absolutely laughing, because field goal percentage is probably going to take a big hit, but who gives a shit? Because your free throws good, your threes are good, your points are good, your assists are good, your steals are solid. Turnovers are absolutely in the dog shit, but not the worst rebounder out of Harden either. I then got DeJounte Murray to try and bump up steals, get a couple of rebounds with that as well. Should still get a few points, solid percentages. Ingram, I needed the small forward, but, I got him at pick, 85 or something like that. So, yeah, I'll definitely have a swing there. Mobley, as we saw, Kenny Atkinson said that the usage is going to come up for Mobley, and then the rebounds, the blocks, the steals, everything else is just going to follow suit, and then hopefully the points and the threes can come up. Randall should probably do what he does in Minnesota that he did in New York and LA and New Orleans, and yep, that's fine. Ayton should step it up. I like the rebounds and that he should be able to do there. Trace Jackson-Davis hopefully gets to start there in Golden State. Looney is the worry, but hopefully it's Trace. Jordan Poole, yep, let's have a swing there. Hopefully he pulls his finger out. Josh Hart, love it. Love the glue guy. Love everything that he's going to be able to bring for New York, and he's going to play so many minutes and do everything. DiVincenzo, the threes, the steals, yep. Give me starters minutes in Minnesota, and we are rolling. Smart for the steals and threes, and D'Anthony Melton steals threes as well in Golden State. I reckon it turned out pretty good, mate. I reckon yours turned out pretty bloody good as well. It's again, it's a tough place to. 9's a bitch, but if you get Giannis, I mean, hell yeah, then we are rolling. And 12's also a bitch, but you're kind of just hoping that someone of value falls to you more than anything, and then you can kind of try to work value back after that. I know a lot of people as well are starting to do the the third round reverse drafts now as well, because of they get Wemby. I love it. I reckon that's a great idea. And it definitely does. I don't think it hinders too much of the draft either. I think Wemby and Jokic are that good, though.
Yeah, no, I just think it's levels the playing field nicely and makes you have less sads when you're getting that 12th pick or in 20, man. The 20th pick,
Oh,
it really is a bit of a game changer from there. I love this team from my own heart's perspective. I love Harden and I love DeJounte. So yes, this is my dream team. I'd be very happy if this was my little crew here. The two biggest douchebags in the league. No wonder they're my favourite players. But
and then you got Miles
yeah,
Bridges
no,
to pair with it. I should have just taken KCP to end it, and we would have been absolutely laughing.
that's
Not
it, mate.
KCP,
And like
sorry,
I've got it.
KPJ.
Oh, yeah, no, he's much more of a douchebag. Yeah, I've got to cherish these mock moments we have together, mate, because it's going to be over all too soon.
Yeah, and then we're going to start be talking shit
Just
about
over a week.
the actual games. How good's that?
Yeah,
I think we
it's
got
wild that we've been podcasting for so. Yeah, I think nine sleeps. Yeah, it's better than Christmas. Yeah,
can't wait.
there's this as the skinny man Silver comes down the chimney to give us basketball delights.
Mate, I'll tell you, and the worst bit about it is, we get a great game with Boston and then we get the Wolves smacking the Lakers. So that's going to be great. But from the Insight Fantasy Sports Network, I've been Skiddy IFS. This has been Live My Fantasy Malley. Another mock draft, ladies and gentlemen. If you can go and hit the like and subscribe button for us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, do all the good stuff. We very, very much appreciate it. It helps us keep doing what we are doing to get the content out to you guys. Absolutely love you all. Malley, I'll see you in the next one, mate. I hope you guys have a great one.
All right.
Peace.